Welcome to CBC Windsor News at 6. I'm Meg Roberts. Thanks so much for spending part of your evening with us tonight. Ford workers have narrowly ratified a 3-year contract. We have the latest reaction tonight. Plus, the Kubota Club is going to begin accepting all genders as voting members. Kubota's male members decided to overturn a policy that's been in place for nearly 100 years. And we have another episode of Lay of the Land, a CBC Windsor series examining the state of green space throughout the region. Tonight, union leadership is trying to sell Ford auto workers on the newly approved 3-year contract. The ratification results are showing a deep divide. Here's a look at what's in the deal. There's a 10% raise for employees in the first year, 5% spread across the next 2 years. Full-time employees get a $10,000 bonus. The top-rate production workers will make $44 in 2025, and skilled trade workers will be paid nearly $56. And the time it takes to make the top rate has been cut in half. That kicks in when an employee hits their 4th year. The deal was narrowly approved by the membership, just 54% voting to ratify the deal, which is a historically low approval rate. We're going straight to the CBC's Chris Ensing now. He joins us live. Chris, that ratification percentage certainly tells a story. What are workers telling you today?
Well, I'm hearing from some workers who believe this was the best that they could get, and others who say they wish that they were on strike. Now, this deal that has been ratified by membership has been called historic by Ford and life-changing by Unifor. And when we look at what's inside of here, workers are telling me that there's massive gains for young workers at the plant. And they're also seeing some changes on the wage scales that they'd like to see. But I've been talking to workers who are near retirement who say that there could have been more here, as well as people who are in the skilled trade side of things, saying that there was money left on the table. Unifor says that what they've done with pensions here is big, that it was a sticking point with the automaker, and saying that because of this deal, there will be more employer contributions to the pension plan because of what they've agreed to. But auto workers themselves, they're split on this decision, as you've seen in that ratification vote. Here's what they told me this afternoon.
Excellent, excellent. I can't complain. They did a great job. The bargaining committee, they did a great job. Couldn't ask for anything more. Like I said, you can't get everything all at once. Try next time. Like I said, every small gains are good.
This contract looked like what they were offered in the States in broad strokes, and they threw away, and we just scooped it up and they said, oh, here. Because 15% over 3 years or 20% over 4 years is the same thing.
That's the American influence of this deal. As we all know, United Auto Workers over there are on strike right now. The offers that they're getting from employers, from Stellantis, Ford, and General Motors, around that 20% wage increase over those 4 years, not close to the 36% that the UAW has been asking for. We should add as well that last member did not actually vote on this deal, and that's because he took issue with how it was run. This was a Zoom meeting that occurred on Saturday and into Sunday. Many people that I spoke with said that they really wanted this to be a traditional union hall meeting where it was ratified and spoken about in person, something that changed during the pandemic. Those in-person meetings are expected to continue this week. We're being told that Unifor will have a meeting with members to hammer out what's going on inside of this contract, similar to what they're doing in Oakville, a meeting happening this afternoon. Here's what some of the members there had to say.
Some real big questions out there, and it turns out that a lot of the tradespeople between Windsor and Oakville have turned down the contract. So we need a little clarification.
We gave up everything. We gave up pension money, we gave up wages, we gave up benefits just to save the Ford Motor Company from going bankrupt. Ford was the only company that didn't get government handouts. We saved them.
And we got nothing back.
And we got nothing back since then. Basically, we get pennies back. But now, with the situation, we need something. We really need some money and some benefits back so we can live a decent human life, you know?
Chris, what does Unifor have to say about the deal?
Their national president telling me that they're happy that they have a ratified deal secured and that now it's about letting the membership know what's in it, something that she says they'll start to see in those first paychecks.
I want them to really look at what's in this agreement, and you know, we're going to have many conversations with our members going forward. But I think when people really sit down with this and they see, you know, that there is something here for everybody, it does move everybody forward in a significant way. And you know, their bargaining committee worked really, really hard here in what I would call a challenging environment.
And that challenging environment, Meg, is the current economic conditions that we've been telling people about on our program. The cost of inflation, the cost of living has all gone up over the course of the last contract that was agreed to. One labor expert we spoke with says that auto workers are aware of that and they want to see that negotiated into their wages.
If you're negotiating 15% wage increases, but inflation has eroded 10% of your wages over the past 3 years, you know, you're starting in a hole and you've got to dig yourself out. And so I think, and auto workers know that.
The other big part of all of this, Meg, has been retirees. We're hearing that inside of this deal, there is a special cash allowance that will come quarterly, depending on when they retired from Ford. That will be between $125 to $200, Meg.
Well, thanks so much for that, Chris. That's a CBC's Chris Ensing reporting live. Another big announcement from Unifor today. It has its sights set on General Motors for the next round of negotiations. Unifor President Lana Payne expects automakers to follow the pattern agreement established with Ford and explains why GM is next, leaving thousands of Stellantis workers for last.
Just as we had with Ford Motor Company, we hold a lot of negotiating leverage with GM right now. Their Oshawa facility is working around the clock, producing very lucrative pickup trucks. The St. Catharines engine and transmission facility, like Ford's powertrain operations, is a linchpin for GM's North American operations. But I also know that our Windsor assembly plant is right now facing down weeks because of its retooling, which limits our leverage.
6 years ago, the Kubota Club was at the center of controversy because it only allowed men to be members. Well, just yesterday, they voted overwhelmingly to reverse that nearly century-old rule and will now allow women to join too. The CBC's Dale Molnar has more.
I don't think we need somebody to tell us, well, you need to be politically correct. I said, no, we don't. Well, first of all, we're legal. We don't need to have women.
That was General Manager Ron Morrow defending a decision back in 2018 to maintain a men-only membership policy at the Kubota Club. It was an issue that resulted in Premier Kathleen Wynne moving a town hall event to another venue and a labor leader to turn down an Italian of the Year award. Just yesterday, club membership voted to allow all persons born in Italy or of Italian descent, regardless of gender, to join the club. The executive would not comment today, but sent a news release that reads in part, "The decision voted by the membership strengthens the club's ability to maintain a leadership role in the promotion of Italian heritage and culture within the Windsor-Essex County community." Hotel Dieu Grace Healthcare CEO Bill Mara quit the club in 2018 over the refusal to allow women members. He is now likely to join again.
This opens up the door to strengthen the membership and the core of the organization and really, in my opinion, solidify a very strong future for the organization. This is just good news for the community, good news for the Kubota Club of Windsor.
Former Public School Board trustee Jessica Sartori got the school board to agree to not use the Kubota Club for events back in 2018 because of the policy. She now feels they should go back and applauds the move.
I think we're all looking always for evidence of equal opportunity for everyone. I think, you know, the Kubota Club has been such an institution in this community. It means a heck of a lot to a lot of people. They are leaders in a sense in this community, and it's good to see them take this step forward.
School Board trustee Julia Burgess seconded the motion in 2018 and is also happy with the decision. Her maternal grandfather helped start the club back in 1925, and she says she will likely join. She says Italian women have a lot to offer.
There are a lot of really great Italian women in every kind of realm of business, and the opportunities now to just be a contributing member is sky's the limit.
Burgess says she will put forward a notice of motion at the next school board meeting to once again have school board events at the Kubota Club. Dale Molnar, CBC News, Windsor.
The town of LaSalle is planning development that has the potential to double the town's population, but some say it comes at a cost, the cost of green space. Dawson Chen brings us the next segment of Lay of the Land, a series examining tree and plant coverage throughout the region, and shares with us why LaSalle's decision could impact generations to come.
Imagine the town of LaSalle having 17,000 new dwellings, a projected increase of 40,000 people to the town's population. That's one of the options of a land use plan that the municipality is currently discussing, described as the largest land use plan in LaSalle's history, setting the stage for years of development. But at least one critic is worried about how much green space will be lost in the plan, and he wants to know why there hasn't been more opportunity for public input.
It comes across as very strange that the town seems to want to get this gigantic development approved as quickly as possible with minimal discussion. For what reason, I don't know.
The Howard Bouffard Secondary Plan will determine the long-term development of two areas north and east of the Volmer Culture and Recreation Complex. Thousands of acres of land will be devoted to residential, institutional, and mixed use. DeMarco has a background in conservation management. According to him, all options of the plan involve a reduction of green space.
About 100 acres of woodlots, including the one right behind us, and other woodlots across Bouffard and extending right up towards Brunette Park. About 100 acres would be wiped out in favor of more housing, and they would pave over all of those areas earmarked for restoration, again, just to maximize the area for housing.
The plan is now in phase 3 of its process. Public online comments on it were accepted for a 2-week period ending Monday. But LaSalle Mayor Crystal Meloche insists the process has just started. More community feedback will be sought next year. And she says that although green space remains a town LaSalle priority, the plan must be financially realistic.
In the new year is when we are actually going to host an open house. And then after that, there's a statutory public meeting, and we encourage residents to come to that as well. What he's proposing would mean that town of LaSalle would have to purchase a large amount of land from developers, which would be extremely costly to the municipality.
Meloche expects the final form of the plan to go before LaSalle Town Council in mid-2024. Dawson Chen, CBC News, Windsor.
Erie Shores Healthcare is boosting the number of beds at its Leamington Hospital. Officials announced today the hospital is getting $7.2 million from the provincial government. The bulk of the money allows them to staff 12 additional acute care beds and 2 extra ICU beds. That brings the total bed capacity to 72 at Erie Shores. The hospital's CEO says these additional beds give them the needed capacity as the population and economy in the region continue to grow. One woman is dead following a crash in Chatham, Kent, involving a motorcycle and a pickup truck towing a boat trailer. It happened yesterday around 3 p.m. just outside of Tilbury. Police say it appears the motorcycle was carrying 2 people and struck the boat trailer. The 70-year-old female passenger suffered serious injuries and was later declared dead in hospital. The driver of the motorcycle had minor injuries. The people in the pickup truck were not injured. Chatham-Kent police say the investigation continues. Well, after a long summer break, politicians returned to Queen's Park today with the opposition eager to question Premier Ford over the now reversed Greenbelt land swap and the Premier's intent on moving past the scandal. Lorenda Redekop has more on our provincial politicians' first day back.
It is now time.
Question period kicked off back after a 15-week break, and the opposition leader hammered away at the Premier over the Greenbelt.
How can people trust this Premier to work for them when he has spent the last 5 years putting his friends and insiders first? Will the Premier finally come clean and explain his personal involvement in the Greenbelt scandal? My question to the Premier is, has he spoken to the RCMP?
Ford tried to shift to other topics, building housing or the economy.
Is it better now than it was 5 years ago? It's not a little better. It's not 10% better. It's 1,000 times better.
Ford apologized last Thursday for his Greenbelt plan and reversed his government's decision to take out protected lands for housing development.
That's what you call leadership, admitting if there was a mistake, moving forward.
The Auditor General had found the land swap would have benefited a few landowners, by $8.3 billion in property values. Marit Stiles did get one clear answer from the housing minister.
How much is this government's Greenbelt disaster going to cost Ontario's taxpayers?
Mr. Speaker, nothing. Nothing, Mr. Speaker.
All three opposition parties are trying to keep the pressure on Ford. The NDP leader moved a motion to return the Greenbelt lands.
Those opposed will please say nay.
Nay. But it failed to even make it past first reading. The housing minister promising to bring up his own motion later this week.
Anybody that might want to change it in the future will have to present legislation in order to do that, and not through regulations.
Meaning, because of this controversy, the government could actually add tougher Greenbelt protections.
I don't trust this government at all to fix a mess of their own making. I don't trust them not to include giant loopholes.
Today, the Green Party leader wrote to the Integrity Commissioner asking him to trigger a public inquiry.
We can't let an 11th hour reversal become a get out of jail free card.
While the Liberals want other development plans examined, such as ones the housing minister fast-tracked.
MZOs across this province. Look at Highway 413, right? Look at who owns all the land around there.
We expect these types of questions to continue this week. The opposition trying to keep the scandal front and center, the government attempting to move past it. Lorenda Redicop, CBC News, Toronto.
Strike. A tentative deal has been reached between the Writers Guild of America and the major film and TV studios in the U.S., but members still need to approve the 3-year agreement next week. As Sam Sampson reports, writers may be coming back soon, but actors are still on the picket lines.
After almost 5 months on the picket line, writers who make you laugh.
I would say that teaching second grade is no picnic. Didn't I see your class having a literal picnic the other day?
Cry.
Something I've been wanting to talk to you both about.
Or just get you amped. Could soon be back to work. Last night, the Writers Guild of America reached a tentative agreement with studios.
The mood, as soon as the tentative deal was announced, was one of ecstasy. I heard that at certain film festivals, there were cheers going on. Also on social media, we saw a vast flurry of tweets. I think a lot of people have suffered because of the strike.
Details from the deal itself will come out in a few days, but we do know what the writers wanted. Better contracts, protection against AI affecting their jobs, and residuals for their shows that are popular on streaming sites. It's not a new concept to get paid more for successful art, but doing so now would rely on data that streaming sites keep secret to stay competitive.
Streamers led by Netflix are going to be very, very reluctant to release any of this data, and any kind of a formula that's going to be crafted to pay the writers based on the popularity of shows when they're streaming is going to have to be very carefully crafted. It's going to be a very tricky formula.
While writers may be back soon, the script hasn't yet been written for actors. They're still picketing, fighting for similar wins. Some are hopeful the writers' success will trickle over to the actors, but that remains unclear. The Writers' Union asks its members to join them on picket lines while their own deal gets ratified.
Well, it's great to have you here. The show.
Nighttime and daytime talk shows are expected to be the first back on your screen. Other, more scripted shows could take weeks, maybe months to get back on the air, all depending when they shut down production and on when the Actors' Union pens the final act in its strike. Sam Sampson, CBC News, Washington.
Well, there's a live look at tonight's gloomy skies, although it's hard to complain after the gorgeous weekend Windsor, Essex just had. We have your full weather forecast coming up after the break. Colette, what a beautiful weekend here in Windsor, Essex County. Yesterday made for a nice day for the Lions to beat the Falcons in Detroit. And of course, your Kansas City Chiefs also in for a big win over the weekend, which I can't get off my social media timelines, and not because it was a good game, but because Taylor Swift was seen sitting in Travis Kelce's suite.
Yes. Swifties, I'm sure, were paying attention. Maybe if they weren't Kansas City Chiefs fans before, they might be now. It was kind of a wild scenario, though, because they kept showing her, Meg, and so you would miss what was happening, like on the field, the breakdown of a play or things like that, because, you know, got to look at Taylor Swift.
It was the Swiftie show.
It was. And that's fine. I hope they're happy, her and Kelsey. I just don't want there to be any drama or heartbreak getting close to playoffs, because we don't need anything messing with the game, right? Let's go ahead and show you what's going on. I know it was a nice weekend, and then now we're getting into some more kind of unsettled conditions, and it's going to stick around for a few days, this pattern. But sunset tonight, 7:24, sunrise tomorrow, 7:23. So essentially, we're at the point where our days are getting a little bit shorter, but still some around 12 hours of daylight that we're getting. Current temperatures, just looking at those readings, and this has sort of been the best or the warmest it's been through the day today. The winds, not much to speak of. They've been a little gustier a bit further east, but I do want to bring them up because if we look at the forecast for the winds, we are going to see them kind of picking up from the east-southeast as we move into Tuesday. Not as much in the morning, but into the afternoon hours, and a few days where we're going to find some of the gusts over 40 kilometers an hour and even the sustained winds on the stronger side. So we have to contend with that, plus some of the showers in the area and some of these unsettled conditions because of a system more parked over Michigan, but not really moving. There's sort of a pattern where everything's kind of stuck. High pressure in other parts of the province giving pleasant weather, but we get the shower development and that rotation around this disturbance. So even through the overnight, some scattered showers and lingering into tomorrow morning. And then I do think we'll see tomorrow afternoon drying out, maybe a few sunny breaks developing, so it gets a little better, but then that just puts us back into the cycle again and things kind of fill back in and we get back into a situation where we can see some of these showers redeveloping as we move into Wednesday. So that's kind of the general circulation going on right here. You could see counterclockwise that ridge of high pressure just not having an influence far enough into southwestern Ontario to provide the relief. So even into Wednesday, a bit unsettled, probably just more the cloud cover Wednesday, but Wednesday night into Thursday, even then we're still looking at a chance of getting into some rain showers. Not raining all the time, just be on guard for it coming up. So overnight tonight, around 17, tomorrow morning, still that chance of showers. And like I said, then I'm hoping into the afternoon, it gets a little bit drier, capturing about 20 degrees, clouds into Wednesday, and then some rain showers Wednesday night into Thursday. So that unstable pattern in place. But look at the end of the week, Meg, things do improve.
They look much better, that's for sure. Thanks so much for that, Colette.
You're welcome.
Well, we all get a little lonely from time to time. Seniors can be especially susceptible, but researchers hope a robot may be able to help. That's coming up after the break. Researchers are looking at whether robots can help people dealing with loneliness. They're pairing a group of seniors in BC with specially designed warm and cuddly robots to see if they can foster companionship.
It's fun company, you know, kind of. You don't have to feed them, you don't have to clean them, you don't have to take them for a walk. Perfect.
Social robots Kiwi and Mango are a big hit with the residents at this West Vancouver retirement residence. Their robotic software can learn and mimic human emotion, recognize faces, and even reach up for a hug. They're at the center of a study experimenting whether artificial intelligence can help support older people. Well, that's it for CBC Windsor News. Don't forget, for news anytime, you can go to our website at cbc.ca/Windsor. Thanks so much for tuning in. Looking forward to seeing you back here tomorrow night.